Just when I was wondering what was going on, my boss, Alex, came striding over and casually patted my shoulder, saying, "Hard work, Dan, but you're fired today." Just like that, I was abruptly kicked out of the company I had served for 20 years. "Long time no see, Mr. Johnson. Actually, I just got fired," I said. At my words, Mr. Johnson, the president, was momentarily speechless. "What about the patent? If the company doesn't have my patent, it will go bankrupt. But I'm fired, so I'll take my leave." Ha ha ha. At this point, all I could do was laugh, and I heard a baffled voice from Mr. Johnson. "My name is Dan. I'm a 45-year-old office worker. Originally, I worked in a repair shop, but about 20 years ago, I became friends with a guy named Mike at a seminar. Through that connection, I joined the same company as him. I always loved assembling machines and inventing, so it was a stroke of luck to be placed in the product development department. Mike seemed to be in a decent position in a major corporation, and it was only because of his referral that I could join the company. Normally, with my level of education, I wouldn't even have been able to apply for a job there. Grateful to him, I spent 20 years working relentlessly. I built good relationships with other employees in the product development department, and before I knew it, I became the central figure in development and eventually rose to the position of a manager. Once I was in that role, everyone started coming to me with various consultations, and we began tackling more innovative and large-scale developments. As a result of our unity, several of our products won design awards, and we even created some hit products that represented the company. As long as we had that product series, the company would be secure. I'm proud of what we accomplished, and it seems the employees gained confidence too. The product development department was sailing smoothly until one day, dark clouds began to loom. There was a change in personnel, and the department head was replaced. The previous head was a good person who listened to us, but the new one was very arrogant. He wasn't interested in our research and development, focusing only on the profits they generated. He insisted on developing only such products, and if development was delayed, he would yell and force us to work overtime until we caught up. Our previously bright workplace had turned into hell, and so my confrontation with Alex began. I suggested daily operational improvements, but he would just say, "If you've got time to talk about that, then work." Even if I presented new product developments, most of my proposals were ignored, and I was asked for meaningless improvements. If a proposal was accepted and moved towards productization, I was rushed to complete it, given absurd instructions, and forced to work overtime until it was done. Once we managed to release a product, and it passed inspection and was launched, all the credit and achievements were claimed by Alex. Before I knew it, everything from the authorship of the proposals to the details was rewritten by him. As a result, employee motivation plummeted, and some started leaving the company. Currently, only those who cannot resign immediately due to family or financial reasons remain. Knowing we couldn't choose to leave, Alex exploited us even more. Overtime became the norm, and we were forced to handle even his tasks. He would just give orders and leave at the regular time, leaving all the remaining work to be completed by us within the day. As a result, we continued to struggle through days handling an enormous workload with fewer staff. I approached Alex about increasing staff, but as expected, he ignored it. Only the weak ones quit. The ones who stayed should cover for them. He himself has absolutely no interest in development work, let alone involvement or assistance. Indeed, the only saving grace was that Alex, who had never been involved in development, didn't interfere. However, we are constantly demanded to produce high-quality products and proposals. No matter how good the products we create, they end up being taken over by him, a fact that is silently driving the staff to despair. Feeling exploited and hopeless, watching my colleagues becoming increasingly haggard day by day, I wondered what I should do. At this rate, the product development department will fall apart. The skills of those who have worked so hard up to this point are high. Honestly, they could probably make it in another company, but finding a new job takes time, and resigning voluntarily means a reduced severance. Besides, I doubt Alex would let them resign normally. That fear has led many to resign themselves to staying. Sure, we receive a salary, but considering the overtime, it's not worth it. Moreover, despite working beyond regular hours, Alex seems to be covering up that fact. Perhaps the only option is to speak directly to high-ups, but that's a last resort. I have many grievances against Alex, but I care about this company and don't want to escalate things and tarnish its image. Does he really want to turn his own company into a black company by enforcing such unpaid overtime? His actions could damage the company. If rumors spread, it would be more than just a departmental issue. It could severely harm the entire company and lead to many job losses. How did someone like him become a manager? I love this company and my job, but I can't agree with prioritizing seniority over merit. Actually, people unrelated to the work like him, being in major roles and exploiting employee achievements is happening. I'm not against the old ways and methods, but there are certainly harmful traditions that still exist. Alex's favorite saying is, back in the day, this was all normal. It's standard for junior colleagues to respect their superiors, right? He exudes arrogance that might have been acceptable in the past. I wish you would realize that times have changed, and someone needs to say that. Maybe that someone should be me. I steeled myself and decided to have a proper conversation with Alex. So, what do you want? That day, I called Alex to the conference room. He obviously didn't hide his annoyance but agreed to talk. I have a business dinner later. I'm not as free as you guys, Alex said, laughing. But we're not free either. In fact, we're cutting back on sleep because of you. Alex, you really need to change your behavior. Do you realize what you're doing could be illegal? Ha! What are you talking about? You guys are choosing to work overtime? I never forced or recommended it. I was utterly disgusted by his blatant lies. Doesn't he realize that if someone sues, the company could be in crisis? The staff is at their limit. Please return the achievements and rights you've taken from them. I pleaded deeply, but all I got in return was his loud, mocking laughter. What are you talking about? You should be happy to work under me. You like your job. That's why you don't quit, right? That can't be true. Everyone's at their breaking point. Do you intend to ruin this department? If it collapses over this, then so be it. With that, Alex brushed past me and left the room. I never thought communication with him would be this impossible. I let out a heavy sigh. I have to report this to the higher-ups somehow. Reluctantly, I worked overtime with the staff that day before heading home. The next day, as I entered the office thinking of ways to have a serious talk with upper management, all eyes of the employees were on me. Just when I was wondering what was going on, Alex walked up to me and casually patted my shoulder, saying, "Hard work, Dan, but you were fired today." And just like that, I was abruptly kicked out of the company I had served for 20 years. Holding my bag, I left the building in shock, and after a while, anger started to bubble up inside me. I took out my cell phone and called a certain number. "It's been a while, Dan. It's rare to get a call from you." The person on the other end was Mike, the one who had invited me to join this company. I should tell him what happened. "Long time no see, Mr. Johnson. Actually, I just got fired." At my words, Mr. Johnson, the president, was momentarily speechless. "What about the patent? If the company doesn't have my patent, it will go bankrupt. But I'm fired, so I will take my leave." All I could do was laugh, and I heard a baffled voice from Mr. Johnson. Then I had to make a beeline back to the company I had just left. Mr. Johnson had called me into his office. "What in the world is going on? Can you explain it to me?" Sitting across from him on the sofa, I took a sip of the coffee he offered. "Mr. Johnson, what was your intention in appointing Alex as head of product development? I did approve it, but I thought there wouldn't be any problems. Was it because of seniority?" At my question, Mr. Johnson quietly nodded. "Well, it's a tradition, you know, promoting someone without any issues." Was he really someone without any issues? What exactly happened in the product development department? Mr. Johnson became serious as I questioned him. I then reported everything that had happened in detail. He listened to my words quietly without interrupting. After I finished, he apologized. "I had no idea it had gotten to this point. I'm really sorry." "There's no need for you to apologize, Mr. Johnson." "Well, indeed, some responsibility lies with you." "That's right. As the president of this company, I am responsible for the actions of my employees." With a sigh, Mr. Johnson dropped his shoulders. If such things are happening under my watch, it means I have failed in leadership. Moreover, to fire you, yes, it was too reckless, especially not knowing about your patents. It was an emotional decision that put the company in jeopardy. I said in a tone of disbelief. Alex probably fired me to set an example, but as someone who has been involved in product development for 20 years, I hold several patents. If I leave, the loss to the company would be immeasurable. Especially if I were to join a rival company, it would be catastrophic. Alex exposed the company to risk just to flaunt his power. Such childish and thoughtless actions gave me a headache. But Mr. Johnson seemed to have a different view. Indeed, Alex's performance as a manager has been good, but I haven't heard of any extraordinary achievements. Looking me straight in the eyes, he continued, in fact, since he became manager, there have been many complaints about the increase in resignations. Issues like overtime and taking credit for others' work are news to me. Indeed, the high number of resignations must have been apparent. But where did all the plans and awards that I thought Alex had monopolized go? From the company's side, bonuses and awards are supposed to go to the proposers, not Alex. But you guys haven't received them, have you? Mr. Johnson asked me, seeking confirmation, and I shook my head firmly. No. If we had received those, many of the staff who resigned might have stayed, especially the younger and more capable ones who couldn't endure the environment and left. It's a significant loss. Factional strife. Why does it always come to this? What do you mean? I asked Mr. Johnson about the true meaning behind his words. It seems there was a factional struggle when Mr. Johnson was appointed to his position against another presidential candidate. The upper management was split in half, creating a tense atmosphere. Alex belonged to the faction of Mr. Johnson's rival. When Mr. Johnson won the struggle and became the CEO, his opponent left the company. Having little connection with the upper management, I was unaware of such conflicts within the company. Well, I might have heard rumors but never paid much attention to them, nor was I involved. I was just happy that my benefactor had become the CEO. Mr. Johnson, you think the factional struggle is still relevant? Probably my rival left the company and now works for a competitor. Mr. Johnson's words made me realize something. The employees who resigned were probably poached by the rival company. I see, so Alex's tyrannical behavior was for that purpose. So Alex is connected to the other company. Not just him. There must be several people in significant positions involved, keeping it from reaching my ears. It was odd that such blatant injustice had occurred without any rumors reaching the upper management. Someone was manipulating and hiding the information. They are likely connected with the rival company, trying to bring down ours from the inside. A betrayal of our own company. But why would someone in a managerial position take such actions? Those connected probably have arrangements to be re-employed with good positions at the rival company if ours goes bankrupt. That's terrible. If our company collapses, many will lose their jobs, and even subcontractors will be affected. Yet such a cunning and cowardly way to destroy a company and ensure only those involved have secure jobs is appalling. They probably wanted you to resign, Nan. You've contributed much more to our company than they anticipated, so they fired you? So they made up a reason to fire me because I wouldn't resign. Yes, as I said before, you hold the patents. If you leave, it would be a tremendous loss for us. Mr. Johnson continued, frowning. The plan was likely to poach you after you left. I can't believe it. I think it's true. You probably have received an offer within a few days. That explains the sudden firing. It's frustrating to think they expected me to easily sway, but I wouldn't sell out everything to a rival company, at least not while Mr. Johnson is still here. I wouldn't let my patents go to another company. They probably never considered that. Indeed, you've been underestimated. Good thing you're a man of integrity, Dan. Mr. Johnson's face finally relaxed, having been tense all this time. Anyway, I have no intention of approving your dismissal. If any such documents are submitted, I'll handle it immediately. So, does that mean I'm not fired? Of course, I want to build this company together with you. Mr. Johnson's words finally allowed me to feel truly relieved. With that, I knew what had to be done. It looks like we need a major cleanup, he said with a calm smile. though his eyes burned with anger. From there, it was a race against time. While Alex and his crew still believed I was fired, Mr. Johnson gathered trusted employees and executives to share information. Together, we uncovered numerous discrepancies and gathered evidence. Mr. Johnson's prediction that Alex and his team would let their guard down after they thought they had achieved their goal of firing me was correct. The product development department seemed despondent after my departure, but Alex was in high spirits, leaving on time for a dinner meeting. We identified the executives and employees who went to the same location. While they were enjoying their banquet, we gathered solid evidence of illicit document removal and tampering. A considerable amount of funds and personnel were involved, and we discovered that technology had been leaked to a rival company. Now all that was left was to use this evidence to completely cleanse the company of its rot. Then came Monday. Some employees and executives who came to work turned pale as they heard the unexpected decrees from Mr. Johnson at the morning assembly. "What do you mean I'm fired?" Alex erupted. Others who received the same fate of dismissal, transfer, or demotion joined in his uproar. Their cries of unjust treatment and threats of lawsuits were met with my scoff. "What? Why are you here?" "You were fired." Alex noticed me and started to make a fuss, but Mr. Johnson interrupted him. "I don't recall approving that. Who exactly gave you the authority to fire Dan?" That is Alex's." Eyes darted around, but no one met his gaze. Some major employees were conspicuously avoiding eye contact. Most likely it was that employee who processed my dismissal. Alex thought bitterly. "Well, as for the unjust personal matter, let's explain the reasons for these personal changes and dismissals right here," Mr. Johnson said. Upon hearing this, the clamoring crowd turned pale. Some were caught by the security guards while attempting to physically attack the president in their rage. Before I knew it, the guards from the security company we contracted were strategically placed to suppress any potential riot. The employees who were unaware of the situation were initially frightened by the atmosphere. As the president started to explain the recent events, the room quieted down. Eventually, as they learned the whole story, their anger turned towards those who had betrayed the company, especially the product development department, which had been thoroughly trampled upon, was seething with rage. Their glares pierced Alex with the intensity of their long-held grievances. Realizing the depth of their resentment, Alex was visibly shaken and trembling. He probably understood better than anyone the depth of their hatred. Facing such murderous and scornful stares would unnerve anyone. Although there was no intention of pressing criminal charges, the company was prepared to sue them if they claimed unjust dismissal. Seemingly resigned to their fate, Alex and those involved in the wrongdoing slumped in defeat, some even collapsing to their knees and sobbing. It was a pitiful sight, but I felt no sympathy. They had brought this upon themselves. With their schemes exposed and their dismissals finalized, it was doubtful whether the rival company would still take them in. Still, some of them might have been hoping to find re-employment somewhere else. Personally, I doubted the reliability of a person who would cold-heartedly use and discard others in such a scheme. Regardless, the hellish days since Alex's appointment had come to an end like this, and so I returned to the product development department. Considering the future, the staff welcomed me back with open arms as I was promoted. The department, having lost many people and feeling quite empty, finally regained a peaceful and healthy working environment. New staff were to be recruited, but surprisingly, many of the employees who had resigned and not found jobs elsewhere returned, much to our delight. Apparently, they had been approached by the rival company but sensed something suspicious about the timing and declined. They were even threatened in some cases and had advised others planning to leave that it was better not to go to such a company. Fewer employees than we expected ended up going to the rival company. Some, including Alex, managed to find new jobs after their dismissal, but were apparently being worked hard as regular employees. In the end, there probably wasn't a high position left for those who had failed in their plan. Still, the fact that many employees who were well acquainted with our internal affairs had gone to the rival company was a significant blow to us. However, considering that we had eradicated the spread of corruption within the company, it was something we had to accept. Being able to continue working at a company I like, doing the job I love, for me, just being able to regain that everyday life is enough. Mr. Johnson, though known for his gentle and kind demeanor, was not someone to be taken lightly. Once the initial cleanup was over and as we approached the time to welcome new recruits, he reviewed and made significant reforms in the company's traditions. He thoroughly enforced compliance and transformed the system into a healthy and motivating environment where those with skills and achievements could advance. In the process, we reevaluated the direction of our products, rendering the information held by the employees who moved to the rival company almost worthless. Mr. Johnson, known for his calm and kind demeanor, gained renewed respect from many employees through the series of mass firings and new reforms. Some executives who had underestimated him now viewed his leadership with a sense of awe. Thus, our company grew, and a few years later became renowned as a major corporation.
Because it was her first time, my wife Samantha spoke so softly I could barely hear her. Her face turned a deep red, and seeing her so bashful took me by surprise. I found myself completely captivated by her. But our relationship wasn't always like this. My name is Jack Andrews. I'm just an ordinary guy working for a medical device company. I once had a dream and went for it, but I didn't have the talent, so I gave up. My parents had high hopes for me and encouraged me to pursue my own path, which led me here. Now I have no dreams and no ambitions. Losing my dreams left me feeling empty, without a goal. People might say to get married and start a family, but I'm still a bachelor with no girlfriend. It honestly pains me that I can't give my mother the grandchildren she longs for. I just can't give them what I don't have. Next week I need to visit my parents. They live in the same state, just a short train ride away, so it's no big deal. But when they called, their voices were serious, saying they had important matters to discuss. My parents are usually laid back and rarely ask me to come home, so something must have happened. I want to be a good son, so I'll accept whatever favor they ask. The day came and I returned to my childhood home. My parents run a diner with the shop on the first floor and their home on the second. As a child, I used to boast I'd take over the shop, but I lacked the talent for cooking and gave up on that path. That's why I'm hesitant to return home. But it's strange. They should be open every day except Thursday, and the shop sign isn't out. Are they closed just for today? I'm home, Dad. Mom, I'm back. Opening the door to the diner, I found both Mom and Dad there. They looked thin and pale. What happened to you two? I asked, hastily approaching them. They explained the situation with heads bowed. A family restaurant opened nearby, and our diner started losing customers. They tried their best to bounce back, but the customers only dwindled. Dad investigated the sudden drop in customers and found anonymous rumors about our diner being dirty or having cockroaches. Despite their efforts, business sales continued to decline, and they ended up in debt, making it impossible to keep the diner open. Even if they close the diner, the debt remains. Worst case, they might have to sell our home. We're sorry if you lose your home too, Dad said, tears of frustration in his eyes. His voice was shaking, and I had never seen him like this. Can't something be done, at least about the debt? I asked. The debt is $80,000. We're looking for a place to get a loan, Dad replied, hanging his head. He must have done all he could, but without any solutions, he confessed to me. In desperation, I turned my gaze to Mom. Mom, can't you ask for help from your friends? Well, I did talk to them. Actually, one of my friends mentioned she might be able to help, but there is a condition. I leaned in, eager to hear more. Regardless of what the condition was, it was worth listening if help was on the table. Yet Mom kept her head down, hesitant to elaborate. Encouraged by Dad, Mom finally broke her silence. The condition is she proposed marriage to her daughter. What? You know I used to go to the flower arrangement class, right? That's where I met her. Her husband is a CEO of a leading company, and their daughter apparently doesn't have anyone she's seeing. According to Mom, this daughter Samantha is shy and hasn't been able to find a partner, even though she wants to get married. This friend of mine seems to be very family-oriented and said she would be willing to help us out if I marry Samantha and become part of their family. But Jack has the right to choose his own partner. I don't want to deprive you of your future because of our debts. No, I'll take the deal. I told my decision to my worried mother. I couldn't take over the family business. I couldn't protect this place that had always been precious to me since I was born. So if getting married is what it takes to save the business, I'll do it. And after all, she's a CEO's daughter. It's a rare opportunity for an ordinary guy like me to have a connection with someone like that. There was a part of me that thought it was a lucky break, the chance to help the business and maybe gain a partner and some connections. There weren't many downsides for me, so I decided to go ahead with it. But I see why she's not finding a husband. The day I met with Samantha, that was the thought running through my mind. She must be shy indeed. Her gaze occasionally wandered away, like she couldn't look directly at me. On the other hand, I couldn't take my eyes off of Samantha. Well, to be more accurate, off her figure. Her double chin was so prominent that it looked like she didn't have a neck. And not just her neck, she didn't have a waistline. Typically, even average-sized women have some curves, but Samantha had none. If I were to compare her shape to something, it would be to a certain blue feline-shaped robot from the future. I don't like to criticize people's appearances, but I have to admit she had a strong impact. If you ask me if I wanted to marry her, I'd say no without hesitation. But I am not in the position to say that right now. Nice to meet you. I'm Samantha. I'm Jack. Pleasure to meet you. Samantha shyly responded and made her greeting. I also nodded in response, and after discussing, we officially became engaged. A month later, we got married and officially became a couple. There was some discussion about living together, but marriage was a non-negotiable condition for repaying the debt. I had no reason to refuse. Perhaps understanding the situation, Samantha suggested that we don't force ourselves to live like a typical married couple, but come together in our own way. So we ended up sharing a bedroom, but not a bed. The so-called wedding night has not yet taken place. Well, with Samantha's physique, sharing a bed would honestly be a squeeze. We were both used to living alone, so it was a bit awkward at first, but it seems that Samantha had always aspired to be a typical wife. Good morning. I tried making breakfast. If you like, please. Just before I left for work, Samantha, who had gotten up early, had prepared breakfast. Chicken soup, fish and omelet. It was a hearty meal. The aroma of the food tickled my nostrils, stimulating my empty stomach. This is delicious. Even though I quit, I once aspired to be a chef. I have a discerning palate for food, so I can say with confidence Samantha's soup is truly delicious. And it's not just the soup. The seasoning of the fish is just right. And the omelet, its color, shape, and taste are all perfect. The quality is as good as any restaurant. This is amazing. It must have been tough to make breakfast of this level, right? It's delicious. I was so engrossed in my breakfast, Samantha's face gradually turned red. I'm glad. Be confident. I'm a diner's owner's son, after all. Samantha, you're a great cook. With that, I finished my meal, not hiding my genuine opinion. Samantha shyly hid her face behind the tray she was holding. Well, I've never served my homemade food to anyone before. I'm happy, though. She appeared extremely shy, but seeing Samantha genuinely happy was adorable. They say don't judge a book by its cover, and that might be true. Samantha, aside from her looks, has a very playful and adorable personality. She's so domestic that you'd forget she's a CEO's daughter, and she almost flawlessly manages household chores, except it seems like she's not very good at doing laundry. The other day, she ended up turning all my shirts blue. She seems to still be getting used to sorting by colors. I'm sorry, they've turned completely blue, haven't they? I've made that mistake before too. A mistake that would depress me if I had made it somehow becomes forgivable when Samantha does it. I slowly fell in love with Samantha. At first, I wasn't sure what was going to happen, but by the time we had been living together for 6 months, what am I going to do? The doctor said I might not be able to have a baby. One day, Samantha came home crying. Apparently, something had come up during her health checkup. I can guess why. I don't necessarily expect us to have children, so don't cry so much. But with my current figure, you won't be able to hold me, Jack. I choked up emotionally. I am perfectly able to love Samantha, but it's pretty tough with her 200 pounds figure. While I was struggling for words, Samantha seemed to make up her mind, looking at me determinedly. I've decided. I'm going on a diet. I want to live a long life, and I want children. Also, I want to walk proudly by your side, Jack. I can't stop Samantha, who says this while blushing. Samantha made up her mind, and thus she began her diet. Exercise is good for health, so I also joined her in the effort. I was just starting to worry about my waistline. I suppose I've put on some happy weight. It can't be helped. Samantha's cooking is too delicious. We go jogging together before work and walking every night. But as expected, it's not easy to keep up. I can't do it anymore. I won't spoil Samantha when she whines like that. This was a promise between me and Samantha. If she felt like giving up, I would be there to support her. So when Samantha looked ready to give up, I proposed something. Hey Samantha, I have a suggestion. What is it? How about we buy a dress? Here's my idea. I will buy the dress that Samantha wants to wear the most right now, and Samantha will work hard on her diet so that she can wear that dress. It's easier for people to have a goal in front of them. That might be a great idea. I've never worn a dress before. Samantha was on board with the idea. Additionally, we decided to separate our bedrooms. This was because Samantha wanted to do stretches and yoga at night. If I'm being watched, it's embarrassing, she said. If she makes a request like that, when do you want to fulfill it? And so, Samantha continued to put forth great effort. Half a year later, by the time we were married for a year, Samantha had become astonishingly beautiful. I hadn't realized it because she was overweight, but she originally had a good figure. With her chest and butt standing out and her waist slimmed down, Samantha, now with a great figure, looked like a different person. Her weight dropped to the goal weight of 117 pounds, and Samantha came running to me beaming with joy. Jack, I'm going to try on that dress today. Really? I'm going to change in the bedroom. Wait for me here. With that, Samantha headed to her bedroom. The bedroom, come to think of it, for the past year, we haven't slept in the same bed, had we? With the way Samantha is now, we could probably share a bed. In fact, isn't this the first time I've been allowed into her bedroom since she lost weight? Thinking like that, it felt almost like our wedding night. After all, Samantha had always strictly kept me out of her bedroom. It's your first time in my room, isn't it? Ha 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 ha. I'm looking forward to our first night. My heart skipped a beat, wondering for a moment if I'd accidentally voiced my thoughts. As if she had read my mind, Samantha laughed. I'll be changed, and shut the bedroom door. After a year together, we were comfortable enough to joke around like that, but her shyness hasn't changed. Just before she shut the door, I caught a glimpse of her blushing ears. After a little while, I put it on and came in. Upon Samantha's invitation, I entered the bedroom. This is my first time wearing a dress. How do I look? There stood Samantha, blushing yet gracefully wearing the red dress I'd bought. She looked stunning, her beauty resembling that of a goddess. I was left dumbstruck. This is incredible. You look stunning, were the only commonplace words I could muster up. Samantha was that beautiful. She was enchanting and alluring, yet despite her appeal, she was blushing and fidgeting adorably. Do I look weird? Not at all. You're beyond beautiful. Really? Truly? Yeah, I'd rather not have you walk around outside like that, though. Upon hearing that, Samantha chuckled happily. Oh, stop it, but I'm flattered. I'm just telling the truth. I mean, what if some strange guy comes over, I muttered, a hint of anxiety in my voice. Samantha, in all her beauty, smiled. In that case, you'll protect me, won't you? Her blush was so very Samantha-like, and I chuckled in response. I resolved in my heart to protect Samantha at all costs and gently closed the bedroom door. From then on, time continued to pass. Believe it or not, I took over my dad's restaurant. Quitting my job and paying off the debt was one thing, but it was no easy task to bring a reputation-damaged restaurant back to life. But now we've transformed into a popular restaurant with lines from the morning. Jack, take this to table 5. Got it. Samantha, how's the meal for table 8? It's almost ready. Yes, it's Samantha in the kitchen now. When I explained the situation of the restaurant, Samantha said she wanted someone to try her cooking, given the lack of popularity. Jack, you praise my cooking, right? That gave me confidence. To be honest, I was convinced that if Samantha cooked for the restaurant, it would surely succeed. That's how much I trust Samantha's cooking skills. She's always loved cooking. She even admitted to gaining weight from eating too much of her own cooking. That's actually an ideal skill for running a diner. Even though the customer traffic had dwindled, it wasn't zero. I pleaded with our regulars to try Samantha's cooking. Her culinary skills were soon recognized, and customers started to return. In fact, some people even come in daily to eat. I help out in the kitchen, but primarily I handle the management and front of house work, creating a place where Samantha can fully utilize her talents. That's my job. I'm home. The restaurant door creaked open around the evening. It was still early for dinner, so there weren't many customers. Into this quiet scene entered a boy carrying a backpack. Welcome back, Jake. Dad, I'm hungry. Ask your mom to make something. Yes. The elementary school boy who just walked in is Jake, me and Samantha's son. Actually, after Samantha's successful diet, she got pregnant and gave birth to a healthy baby boy. Mom, can you make something? Oh, you really ate a lot, don't you? Just wait a bit. Our son, nagging for food because he's hungry, calls out to the kitchen. Watching the scene, I can't help but smile. Right now, I'm happy. I have my loving wife, my adorable son, and I get to live with them both in the restaurant. I've always wanted to protect Samantha, and it's crude to say, but we married because of the debt. It's probably not what you'd call a good match, but I can say this from the bottom of my heart. I'm glad I married you. How did you find that? Your subscription to the channel really motivates us to keep producing. See you in the next video.